Welcome to Love in Life, a guide to a positive mindset. My aim is to show you that the key to a happier and more positive mind is to love the life you have. We will look at tips and tools you can use to improve your mindset, and the best thing is, we'll all be on this journey together. Hello. I cannot believe it's Wednesday again already. Like, how fast are the weeks going at the moment? Is it just me? Or is everybody else finding that every single week, I don't know if it is this year or is it as I'm getting older, but the weeks just go so fast and time is just running away with us. It's the last week of September and I know I've already told you how much I love autumn. I love the change in the seasons, but I bloody love October. There's something about October that it is my actual favourite month. I love Christmas. I love June because it's my birthday, but I just love October. That's when you really, really notice the colours in the leaves falling. Oh, I don't know. I just absolutely love it. So I'm really looking forward to next week because it's October next week and I can't wait. So what have I been up to in the last week? On Friday, I spent basically the whole day working on a tutorial that I'm creating. It's actually it's like a cake related tutorial, so I might as well try and sell some of my knowledge. So I've been working on that. I literally spent the whole day working on that on Friday, which is something that I've been intending to do for a long time and have been putting it off actually, but I finally got around to doing that. I haven't launched it yet. I don't know. I think there's a few blocks that I need to work on. Shock horror, they're related to charging people money. I need to decide on a price point for it. So yeah, I've got that block to work through, but I've got the content is all created now. So that's great. So I just need to work on that block and then I can launch that. So that's one thing done. I have celebrated my birthday yet again. So with Martin Haley, who I'm sure you've probably heard me talking about Martin Haley before, but Mart is my brother and Haley is his wife, who happens to be like one of my closest people. Love her to bits. We went out on the weekend, Craig and I and Martin Haley, and we had a yummy vegan afternoon tea. They very kindly went vegan for an afternoon for me and went out for a few cocktails, had a lovely afternoon and evening with them. And the boys have been ill, so that's obviously not great. Oh God, yeah, that was quite a thing to work through. So obviously I go on about positive mindset all the time. And last week, George was quite poorly and, I'm not a tough mum, but I wouldn't say I'm soft either. So I do find it difficult making the decision whether to send my kids into school or not. Obviously, if they are, physically ill, as in being sick and what have you, then obviously I wouldn't send them to school. But sometimes, what it's like if you're running low on energy and sometimes you just need to get up and go in. And then when you do, you're so much better and you're actually grateful that you got up and did it. So I tried that numerous times last week, but I think I had to go and pick George up from school. It was either 2 or 3 times last week. And eventually I started feeling like a really bad parent. Like, what do the teachers think of me? Like, this woman keeps sending her kids into school. They're obviously not bloody very well. But, I'm just trying to teach them resilience and trying to teach them to get on with it. And I did send him in on Friday and he managed to last the whole day, which was the only day last week that he did. But it's done now. He managed the whole day and he's much better now. And then Craig came down with it on Sunday, or possible food poisoning, I don't know. But it could have been the same bug as them, we don't know. But yeah, so Sunday I spent my afternoon on a golf course for 6 hours with Alfie. That's normally Craig's department. But yeah, Mum stepped up and was waiting around on the golf course for them to get going for 3 hours before they did. And then when they finally did, as you can imagine, standing around for 3 hours on a golf course when you're 13 years old, it's not great for the mindset. I think it's just his head was gone. So, Mum, with the positive mindset, kept trying to give him words of encouragement to try and change his mindset, but it's really hard. It's really hard when things don't start off the way we want them to. And, it's easy as parents to think, right, don't let it ruin the rest of your game or whatever you're doing. But when you're a kid, it's taken, I wasn't always like this. I imagine when I was a teenager, I found it hard to keep going when I felt negative about something, when I felt down about something. It's easier as an adult to look at things in perspective and think, right, take a deep breath and move on. And actually, I didn't plan for this to happen, but that leads me really nicely into what I want to talk about today. So this last week, when I've been, flicking through Instagrams and looking at reels and getting ideas for reels, I keep seeing something coming up, which is J.Lo's voice saying the following words. Actually, shall I just play it for you? Hold on. Right, here it is. It's going to sound much better coming from J.Lo than it is me. Bear with me. Right, here we go.
You don't have to be the best to have success. You just have to not give up. You have to keep going. You have to always know that you have something special to offer.
God, how true is that? Like, why do we always want to be the best at something? Like, what does the best even mean? What is the definition of the best? Like, is it the person that makes the most money, who sells the most product, or whatever it is you're trying to be the best at? And who even decides who's the best? Like, where is the hard, fast rule? So this is something I would imagine we all need reminding of every now and again. And I like to be completely honest with you guys. So, I will be honest and say, this is something I need to remind myself every now and again. Only last week, I found myself comparing my podcast to somebody else's, somebody who's, got a completely different background to me. You cannot compare yourself to anybody else. So I quickly realised what I was doing, and I managed to flip my mindset and looked at the amount of, my number of downloads is increasing week on week. Every single week it's a higher number compared to the week before. So there is growth, and I just remember the lovely messages that I've received from people to tell me that what I've said is exactly what they needed to hear. So for me, that is success. And I just need to remind myself that just because I haven't got the, highest amount of downloads, I still have success because those people have told me that what I am saying has helped them in essence. So how do we keep going when things are getting in our way or when we're finding it hard? Sometimes it could be so much easier just to give up and try something else. How do you keep going? So the first thing is you have to have motivation to do this thing, whatever it is you're trying to succeed at. You have to have the motivation. In order to have the motivation, you need to be doing something that you are truly passionate about, because that is what gets you up out of bed in the morning. That is what keeps you going through all the shit. You have to be able to go back and remind yourself why you are doing something. So for me, for example, I have always been driven by helping people. I like to feel that I've helped people out and that I've made a difference to their lives. And if you compare that to Craig, like something we discovered a long, long time ago and something that we've both, settled on and suits us quite well, is that he is motivated by money. And that's absolutely fine. Like, there's no judgment from anybody. There shouldn't be any judgment from anybody. And you shouldn't let yourself be judged by anybody for whatever your motivation is. But it is important that you realise and be honest with yourself about what your motivation is. It could be a particular goal that you've got in mind. So, I don't know, for example, if you wanted to be the first female in your company to achieve a certain position, on the days when it feels like that isn't going to plan or it's never going to happen, those are the days that you need to push yourself to get up and, push yourself through work, because it's not going to happen if you don't push yourself through it. And another example could be, if you go to the gym and it's feeling a bit tough, remember your goal. So if there's a particular weight that you want to be able to lift, or if there's a particular body image that you want to achieve, or if there's a certain competition that you want to enter, have that goal in the forefront of your mind when things are feeling really tough, because that is your motivation, that is your passion. Okay, another way that we can keep going when we want to have success is to understand the ego and what the ego means. So, contrary to popular belief, like, we hear people saying, oh, he's got such an ego, like, oh, that's more of sort of like an arrogance. But that's not actually what the ego means. We all have an ego, and your ego is the idea of who you are. It's your thoughts that you generate in your mind of what you think other people see in you. Or maybe what you want other people to see in you or think of you. And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. You could almost think of it as like a superficial shell. So it's not your whole, it's like a shell on the outside of what you want people to see or what you want people to think. The problem with that is that our ego can limit us when negative thoughts get in the way. Things that you've picked up since, during your lifetime. So since you've been a child, or, you might think, I'm rubbish at maths. And that's your ego trying to protect you. So if you listen to your ego, then you'll think you're rubbish at maths, and you'll be telling people that you're rubbish at maths. Like I said, the reason why we do this is to protect ourselves. So if we don't succeed at something, it kind of eliminates any surprise for other people who are observing us. And I don't want to go on about this too much, because I actually want to do an episode on this. Like, there's so much I am learning about the ego that I'd love to pass on to you as well. So like I said, I'm not going to go on about it too much, but basically by telling people you're crap at maths, when it does turn out that you don't do something right or you need to do something again, it stops them thinking, oh yeah, she's crap at maths. Does that make sense? When actually what we really should be doing is going back to, was it episode 3 or 4? I can't remember now. But it's actually what we should be doing is letting go of those limiting beliefs. That's exactly what they are, isn't it? We think we're crap at maths. So that's what we believe. And it turns out, if you ask yourself the question, look for the evidence. Are you crap at maths? What evidence have you got to show for this? There probably isn't any. You might not necessarily have got a good grade in maths at school, but that doesn't mean that you're bad at maths for the rest of your life. So by letting go of our ego, letting go of our limiting beliefs, and simply not necessarily thinking that they're true, that's just another way that we can not give up and keep going. Creating habits is another great way that we can keep going. And I know this is something I've talked about before in previous episodes, but this is something I do feel quite passionately about. So in the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, which is one of the best-selling books of all time, by the way, and I highly recommend that you read it. According to James Clear, the best way to create habits is to have your goal, obviously, but then to break it down. Don't try and achieve your goal all in one go. So break it down into small incremental changes that you introduce into your life and gradually build on. Because not only is it easier to achieve, smaller broken down goals, but it's easier if we're achieving those smaller goals, then we're motivating ourselves constantly, which then makes achieving a bigger or more long-term goal a lot more pleasant and a lot easier. So let's say, for example, you want to drink more water in a day. We should drink at least 3 litres of water every day. To be successful at this, the first thing you should do is set yourself small, achievable goals. So, for instance, you could maybe say, right, with every meal I have, I'm going to drink a glass of water. And then when you get to the stage where you find drinking a glass of water with every meal achievable, then you could increase your water by adding in an extra glass of water in between meals. And I say that it takes about 2 months for a new behaviour to become automatic. So for this reason, it's really important not to beat yourself up if your habit drops for a day or if you forget to do it one time. Like the 66 days doesn't start again. The most important thing is that you just get back on the wagon and keep going with your habit. And then gradually building on these habits, building habit upon habit upon habit, is what will gradually lead to success and not giving up. And I was actually watching a really interesting TED Talks on, I can't remember what the lady's name was now, but it was basically how to become successful, like how to achieve something. And she says that an amazing character trait to have is grit. So what is grit? So I have been researching this because like we all know what grit means, but actually trying to describe it is something else really, isn't it? So I found something that actually breaks it down. So the G stands for guts. So like courage and determination and, having the guts to go for something. The R stands for resilience. So your ability to bounce back, like when shit happens, your ability to keep going. The I stands for intensity. So this basically focuses on like fierceness, determination, your strength. And then tenacity is the T. So this obviously means your ability to persevere and your commitment to following something through. Like, as I said earlier, even when the shit hits the fan, your ability to still commit to it and just carry on. And this TED Talk that I was watching as well, it said something that I think is quite powerful, and that is that talent doesn't make you gritty. What makes you gritty? It's having stamina. Stamina, the ability to sustain prolonged physical or mental effort. The ability to keep going through the good and the bad. It doesn't even need to be good or bad. It could be like the mundane and the boring. Maybe you get bored easily, like somebody else I know, and you find it hard to keep repeating the same process over and over again. But if you have the stamina, if you have the resilience, then you just keep going. You've always got this voice in the back of your head saying, come on, you can do this. So whether you've got the talent or not, the grit is the most important thing. So right now, whatever you're doing, I want you to think of something that you want to achieve, something that you want to succeed at. And have you got part of your ego that is telling you why you can't do it? Maybe you're too tired, maybe you're too old, maybe you're too cold, maybe you don't have enough money, maybe you haven't got the right background. And realise that this is a limiting belief. And remember, the way we realise that things are limiting beliefs is by looking at what evidence we have to suggest or to prove that that is real. Then I want you to think of a new habit that you could form, like something that you could just make sure you do over and over again, whether it's every day, every week, every month, whatever it is you need to do to make sure that you get this goal achieved. Then I'd like you to use your grit and determination to push yourself through making these habits, because when we're making habits, it's really easy to give up when we forget once and we think, oh, okay, I'll go back to it next week. I'll start again next week. No, don't do that. Just keep going. Start again the next day or start again later on that hour, that day, whatever you need to do. Because having stamina, having tenacity, it means, being willing to fail and get back up again. We're all going to fail at certain things. That doesn't mean it's failed for good. That means you pick yourself up and you get back on with it again. And if it's something that you've got passion and motivation for, then you will do this. You figure out what needs to be done and you commit to doing it. So I'm going to put myself on the line here and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to set myself for my homework. And this isn't going to be, something that I'll necessarily update you on next week, because this is a long-term achievement for me. So what do I want to achieve? I want my new career to be a success. So what is my new career? Obviously, this podcast is a start of it. But as I've said to you before, this doesn't pay the bills, obviously. This isn't a paid job. This is helping me build experience and my credibility and essentially my audience. You guys are my audience because you are the people that listen to me. But my new career is like what I've got in mind is more like a mindset mentor. So I'm going to be doing workshops and tutorials and courses to help you or help people improve their mindset. So as I've asked you guys to do, the next part of my homework, what does my ego tell me, or what are my limiting beliefs? So as I've already told you tonight, my ego is telling me that there are other people doing this longer. They've got larger audiences. Like, my ego makes me compare myself to people. So what habits can I form to help me succeed in this? So I could be more consistent on social media. So I need to eventually I'd like to post daily, because that's what all the social media experts tell you, is to post daily. But for me, it's about being more consistent. So I'm going to break this down into smaller incremental upgrades. So for me, that is I'm going to start off by committing to posting 3 times a week consistently, and then gradually increase this. Because if I say to myself I'm going to post every day, obviously that's not going to happen overnight. So I'm going to start off by committing to 2 or 3 times a week, and then gradually increase this once it becomes easier. And then, as I said, work out what needs to be done. So I obviously, as do most people, need to work on my mindset. I think everybody needs to work on their mindset at something and at some point. At whatever level you're at, there's always more that can be done to help improve your mindset. But for me, the areas of my mindset that need working on is my money, as I've told you many, many times before, money mindset, and my self-belief. So, to stop myself comparing myself to other people. And also, what else needs to be done is for me to gain more credibility. I've actually enrolled myself onto a life coaching course. So this is something that will help me coach other people and help me coach other people to improve their mindset. And obviously, I'm going to be working on my mindset all the time. So I have got the perfect tips and tools to be helping other people work on their mindset. And by enrolling myself onto a life coaching course, I'm learning how to coach other people. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm committing to. That is what my homework is. Like I said, I have already enrolled onto this life coaching course. So for me, it's just working through that. So I'll update you on how I get on with that next week. But on the whole, like I said, this is a long-term goal for me. If you do manage to think of anything that you will be, that is more of a short-term achievement that you might be able to succeed in the next week or so, please, as I always say, please do tag me in your post or your stories. Let me know how you're getting on. Let me know your achievements. So I just want to finish off by going back to what J.Lo said. You don't have to be the best to have success. You just have to not give up. You have to keep going. You have to always know that you have something special to offer. So let's just look at how true that is before I go. So let's think of somebody in the public eye. Let's take J.Lo, for example. You don't have to be the best to have success. Like, is she the best singer. I mean, who determines what the best singer is? But no, she's probably not. I'm sure there are better singers out there, but is she successful? Bloody right, she's successful. Why is she successful? Because I can remember J.Lo being about for what? Probably 20 years now, maybe more. Like, that's how long she's been going at this. She hasn't given up. From a quick search I've just done, in America, she's released 32 songs. 10 of those have been top 10 hits. Like, do you think that the other 22 songs that didn't reach the top 10, do you feel like she felt like giving up or felt like crap when they didn't reach the top 10? She probably did. She didn't stop. In fact, 4 of her 32 songs were number 1 hits. 4 of them went to number 1. That is amazing. So the last thing I want to say to you before I shut up is consider this. You don't have to be the best, but maybe in one person's eyes, you will be the best. And what a lovely feeling. You're not going to be the best to everybody, but consider that you're the best in someone's eyes. So there we go. There's my little reflection for the week. I just want to say thank you so much to anybody who's recently joined me. As I said, my numbers are increasing every week. So hello to new people who have recently started listening to me. It's lovely to have you here, and I really do hope you keep coming back. For those of you that do keep coming back, thank you so much. It literally means so much to me, because there's obviously a reason why you come back. You obviously enjoy what I have to say, and that means the absolute world to me. So if you could, please, as I always say, please do rate and review. If you're on Apple, I would really appreciate some reviews. Just even if it's just like one word, like incredible or amazing or insightful, anything like that, that would be amazing. It just tells Apple that people are enjoying what they listen to. And I know I've said this over and over again, but I really would appreciate you doing that. That would help me out massively. And please join me on Instagram. Keep me accountable. I've said I'm going to post 3 times a week. So yeah, please keep me accountable. If there's anything that you want keeping accountable for, let me know. You can do that on Instagram. You can send me a private message. Also, I don't know if you've found my Linktree link, but there's a way to contact me on there as well. So please contact me and let me know what you need to be held accountable for. Let me know what your homework is. You've set yourself, what goal you've thought of that you're going to try and succeed at, what your goal you're going to try and achieve. Let me know the steps that you've taken to get there. And yeah, the most important thing, let me know when you achieve it, because celebrating our successes is what reinforces what hard work we've done, not just to us, but to the universe and to the higher power. But yeah, just reinforce it to yourself and gain some confidence in what you do. You are amazing. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, and I will speak to you next week. Bye guys. Bye.